this is different, I know, and it's not going to be the way it stays. I got the microphone up here dangling, and I might still do that, I don't know. The shelves are empty and awkward right now, and the lighting is not good. Have we covered everything? But this is going to be, and the acoustics. Yeah, I didn't mention the acoustics. I did in the podcast, but all the walls are pretty much bare in here, and you can see the bookcases are as well. And so because of that, I don't know if you're getting any kind of echo on this audio or not. I guess we'll find out together. But regardless of that, it is good to be back. Thank you for putting up with the situation that I had with the move and all of that. Thank you for being patient. I know some of you are saying you didn't really have a choice, but you did. I mean, you could have just cut ties and walked away, and most of you didn't do that. Well, I don't think any of you did that, so I'm very thankful. And welcome aboard to the new subscribers. Would love to add to those numbers. Also want to make sure that you guys are aware, and this is what I was saying in the podcast. I wanted to talk to you specifically about this. Next week is the trial week. It's not really a trial because we're not going to cancel it. So I'll call it more of the soft opening. The soft opening in like amusement park terminology is where they've got a new ride that they're going to introduce, but they want to test it and make sure that the line functions, the queue functions right, and there's not a lot of breakdowns throughout the day and all of that. And so what we're doing next week, before I open it up to everybody and start really pushing it, I want to make sure that the text service works right, that these show up, that they're easy to link to. There's going to be an audio option. There's going to be a video option. You can either watch it or you'll be able to listen to it. It's about a 5-minute, I don't want to say devotional, because we're actually studying the word. So it isn't taking some story that happened and then drawing some biblical idea. We'll be in the word, looking at a passage, sometimes for a couple days, sometimes for a week, sometimes for a couple weeks, digging into it and then applying it to our current situation, if that makes sense. And so next week we'll give you an idea of what it'll be like. It was recorded in the old studio before I moved out of it, and it's not going to be exactly the same, but it gives us an idea if this is functioning the way we want it to function, and we can tweak it before then going completely live and pushing it to everybody. So I'm giddy, I'm excited, and yet at the same time want to make sure that it's done right and I don't turn people off. I'm not worried about turning you guys off. You're on board. Now, you're suckers. Look at me. I'm in this studio and you're still watching this. So anyway, I'm putting a number up on the screen right now, unless that glitches. And if you text the word Jesus to that number right there, and if you're not watching, it's 866-845-5029. You can do that. You can text the word Jesus to 866-845-5029. Or if you do that, then you'll be prompted to sign up and you can sign up. Or if you just go to dashboardjesus.net/daily, DAILY, dashboardjesus.net/daily, there's a little button you can just click right there and sign up. And that way you can get the text messages and you can report back if this is working or not. Now, obviously, you've got the option too. You can just go to that website I just gave you, dashboardjesus.net/daily, and you can find them there every day if you want to do it that way. To me, it's easier if it comes to your phone. And you can also, I would like to know your thoughts on this. I'd like to know what you think about emailing these out every day. I don't want to flood inboxes because that would be getting an email a day, and then on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're getting another email on top of it from me. So that's a lot. And so I'm not thinking I want to do that, but at the same time, maybe I could do a different list for the people that did want the emails. I don't want to make it too complicated for us, but your thoughts, obviously, because you are the core group here and the core community that keep this all going. So you let me know what you think is the most effective way to do it. And I personally think that the text messaging is the way to go, but I'm open to suggestions. I wanted to comment on something since I talked about the election, the observation from the recent elections on the podcast. I wanted to make another observation, and that is I've kind of reached my limit with Barack Obama. It sounds bad, and I don't mean this to be intentionally provocative or anything like that, because we focus far more on faith here than we do politics, but these two tie into each other. And in this last election, you saw it. Barack Obama has long presented himself as the conscience of American politics. For 2 decades, he has successfully maintained the charade of a man above the fray, the adult in the room. And he is calmly urging us to, some of his favorite lines, to turn down the temperature and to disagree without being disagreeable. But last week, in the lead up to this election that just took place in some places, Virginia in particular, he brought that dog and pony show, the turn down the temperature dog and pony show, to Virginia. And he was there stumping for Abigail Spanberger. And anybody who's been paying attention to the last month in this election would have seen the cognitive dissonance that was coming out of Obama's mouth. Because standing beside Obama was Virginia's scandal-plagued attorney general nominee who ended up winning the election, Jay Jones. Jay Jones openly fantasized in text messages about murdering a Republican lawmaker with 2 bullets to the head and forcing that lawmaker's family to watch their child die in their mother's arms. Now, if I'm being completely honest and completely fair-minded, do I think that he would actually want that? I don't. Maybe that's naive of me, but I don't think another human being who's seemingly rational in other ways would actually want that. But if you're willing to put that in text messages, if you're willing to talk about that in a joking fashion, particularly on the heels of everything that has occurred recently with Charlie Kirk and the attempted assassinations of Donald Trump, that is appallingly bad judgment. Spanberger herself she would not call for Jay Jones to leave the race, nor would Barack Obama. Barack Obama described Spanberger as somebody who, quote, doesn't just believe in working with everybody, but in listening to everybody. And she refused to demonize people who disagree. Okay. She's literally campaigning alongside someone who has done just that in the most grotesque form imaginable. And obviously, if you looked into the race at all, Spanberger had also said she wasn't going to work with Donald Trump to create jobs in Virginia. So it's collision, once again, of rhetoric versus reality. It is vintage Obama, and I'm just ready to move on past it. Because the entire public life of this man has been a case study in polished sermons on unity, paired with unspoken exceptions for his own side's behavior. You will recall he is the one that in 2008, it was 2008, wasn't it? That dismissed Americans as rural Americans as bitter people who cling to guns or religion. I think that was 2012, actually. When he was president, he regularly implied that opposing his policies that stemmed from fear or ignorance or racism. You might remember if you supported border enforcement. Well, that's because you were anti-immigrant. Not pro-law, you were anti-immigrant. If you questioned aspects of the affordable health care, Obamacare, well, then you didn't care whether or not people got sick. If you opposed his executive overreaches, you were on the wrong side of history. And yet, and I know it's because of the compliant press, but Obama managed to maintain this undeserved reputation of a person, a figure of calm moderation. He wasn't. He never has been. And his post-White House persona has only amplified this comical contradiction between who he is portrayed to be and who he is every time he's in public. Obama won't leave the public stage. whether or not it's because he doesn't think anybody is as competent as he is or as gifted as he is, whether he misses the spotlight. I don't know why, but he doesn't want to leave. He's going around lecturing that our politics feels broken, that we've lost our sense of shared reality, that we've got to stop seeing each other as enemies. All of those things I believe, and all of those things I'm saying as well, and a lot of people are. I wholeheartedly agree with all of those observations. It's just that every word of it is completely detached from the conduct that he exhibited as president, and that so many in his political movement continue to demonstrate, thriving on division and moral insult. You want to criticize Donald Trump for division and moral insult? You know you get no argument from me on that. I've criticized him for that. But Barack Obama is the one that did it first. He is Trump is the anti-Obama. Trump was the answer to Barack Obama's insolent behavior towards the right. That's why the right went out and hired their own bully, because they were tired of being bullied. So for any of us that actually want those things that Obama's saying, we actually want to get back to a shared reality and stop seeing each other as enemies and want to heal our politics, those people that actually believe that, know that's only going to happen when figures like Barack Obama are no longer prominent, because they are the ones who have continued to stoke the division. Michelle Obama, the 2016 DNC speech, where she made the famous statement, when they go low, we go high. Okay, is going high? That means claiming the moral high ground while calling half of the country deplorable and racist and authoritarian. You're not actually going high, other than you're climbing up on a moral high horse. Lecturing your opponents about tolerance while cheering on people who were canceling or silencing or smearing their political opponents. That's not going high. There in Virginia is a president who built his legacy talking about healing our divisions, sharing the stage with a man who openly fantasized about violence against his political foes. I have come to this conclusion that there are figures in our country that rally people behind them. Donald Trump is one of them. Barack Obama is another one of them. And to rally people behind them, they do that most effectively by demonizing those on the opposite side. You have to vote for me, they say, because the other side will destroy America. The other side wants you dead. You're not going to unify a population speaking like that. So Barack Obama may want to hurl accusations, and Obama supporters may want to hurl accusations that Trump is a demonizing force and that he's a dividing force and all of that. You have no ground and no standing to do that when you're guilty of it yourself. And in fact, if you want to play the fifth grade game, you started it. The framework, I just leave it at this. I think the whole routine, I think it is grating. I think it's sanctimonious. I think it's cynical. And I guess I would like to think that more Americans than just me are kind of tired of being told to calm down by the same people who spend every election cycle warning us that democracy itself is on the ballot and that people are going to die. I would like to think that more Americans than just me are tired of leaders who will preach unity while practicing selective outrage. I don't think in any way a rational person should think that Barack Obama's trip to Virginia or anywhere he goes is truly trying to promote civility. I think it's meant to sound lofty. I think it's meant to sound unifying, but it should be underscored by all of the hollowness of this act that has been going on since 2008. I was I was saying this to Jenny. If this is what going high looks like, when they go low, we go high. If this is what going high looks like, it's no wonder that our politics continues to sink lower and lower and lower. My thoughts on that. Would love yours. You can send them to me. I know that was a little more political than what we typically get, but it's only political in the sense that he is a political figure. It is a cultural issue that we're facing and a biblical concept that is at the heart of it. And I don't just mean the deception, but the call for peace, the call for loving enemies, the call for seeing other people as God sees them, image bearers, and not hating others who believe differently than you. Those are concepts that Christians believe. And as a result, those Christians should recoil. We all should recoil at the behavior of any political figure, right or left, Republican or Democrat, who is fueling the opposite to build their own standing. That isn't Christ-like. It's not our way. And it should be a problem that we have. Those are my thoughts. Peterheck.com. That's peter@peterheck.com. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, as well as the Dashboard Jesus Daily, which again, not talking politics there. We're in the Word. Got it? Would love it if you would join us and let me know next week how it's going. You can respond to me via email. You can just sign up for the text. You can contact me on the contact form, whatever. Just want to know your thoughts on that and things we need to do to tweak it and improve it before we go big with everybody else. Thanks again for being the paid subscriber. Thanks again for sticking with me through the move. This will all be put together, hopefully, by next week. Fingers crossed, acoustic pads, all of it. And I'll see you then.